Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday night's Leaders Live. Tonight, we are in for a special treat as it'll be the first interactive Leaders Live to date. So, in the meantime, Jen, you are on top of it. Are you here with me now? Let's see. Me live.
Hello.
Hello, Jen. It is so great to see
I'm
you and
so
be
happy
with
to
you.
be here with you and your community. I am very excited for what is in store tonight.
Me too, me too. And as we allow for everybody to kind of trickle in as it's 7:30 on the dot, we'll give everyone a few moments, but I'll just do a prelude that this is episode 105 of Leaders Live. And the theme of this evening with Jen Faye Colombo is how to tap in to your creative flow and how that will and can support all areas of your life. And we have creative unicorn, magician in the art world and beyond, Jen Faye Colombo on with us this evening. And as I said before, this is going to be our first episode of Leaders Live where we're actually going to be doing an interactive element and component. So as we're waiting for a few more people to trickle in, the people that are here now, hello, Light Your Own Path. So good to have you here. Jen, do you want to say, is there anything that we should get, kind of prepare for? Is there anything that we should kind of pull together before the interactive
we're going to keep it really simple. So if you would like to play along with us, you can just grab a piece of paper. It doesn't matter if it's a blank page or lined page. You can grab crayons, markers. If you have paint, you can grab that too. We're just going to be doing something for a few minutes. And if you only have like pens or pencils around, that's okay too. Whatever you have available to you that's easily accessible is going to be absolutely perfect for this experience.
Yay! I'm so excited to be along for this journey as well, as I don't know what Jen has in store for this interactive element. I'm going in completely surrendering and trusting like all of you are as well. So yes, go gather up your supplies. We're going to be starting the interactive component in, a few minutes and few moments into the episode. But given the fact that the episode is called How to Tap into Your Creative Flow, I think that a really great place for us to start would be to define what creative flow means. So Jen, what does creative flow mean for you?
Creative flow, and by the way, it might be a little different for you, right? But for me, what it means is things, creativity, ideas, all of the things start to come in with ease. I can get a lot of different ideas, and I also know that with those a lot of ideas, I can filter out and prioritize what I do and don't want to do, right? And it's a beautiful way to be able to start to come from, for me, a place more of heart and soul than like in my mind. Does that make sense? And,
Totally.
Creating with art supplies is a beautiful way to do that. But some of you are probably already doing this, whether you know it or not. It could look like for you journaling. It could be, being in the kitchen and you kind of get in that zone, right? So for those of you who meditate, for me, like getting in the creative flow is also a form of meditation where my mind can get really decluttered and like ideas and other things can start to pour into me. And then I can choose to do with them what I choose to do.
So beautifully said. So what I heard you say is letting go of like our thinking mind, our overthinking mind, this need for perfection, and allowing our heart to guide the way. Whatever's meant to literally flow, fluidity, flexibility, just let it all out onto the page and whatever that means. Through art, through pictures, through words.
Exactly.
Anything.
And when we do this, there's going to be no right or wrong to do this, way to do this. Yes, you heard that right. We are not in school here. You are with Jen and Alexa today. And in this world, yes, there's no right or wrong way to do this, right? So I'll talk a little bit more about when we get into the actual interactive part. But yeah, you can get into that flow in so many ways, and it can look different for each person. And you hit on such a great point. And this is where I think a lot of people get stuck. And this is why doing this is such a great way to help you start to loosen the reins on that. And that is that perfection. I mean, how many of us have gotten stuck in that like perfection paralysis? We procrastinate doing things that we desire to do in life or in our businesses because we are so afraid of putting something out there that's not perfect. And by cultivating creative flow in other ways, you can start to really, it's a great way in a very safe space to start to like let go of that and surrender that, right? So for example, what we're going to do today, we're going to do a few minutes. So you're obviously not going to draw something realistic in like 4 minutes, right? Especially those of you who have no training whatsoever, right? So it's a beautiful opportunity to start to let go of the idea of outcome. For me, getting in the creative flow and like working with art supplies and doing things in all different ways has been a great way for me to let go of attachment, outcome, and expectation, which I'm sure you can imagine when you start to get more comfortable with that feeling in one place, it will start to spill over into the other places. Like, for example, I don't do this very much anymore, procrastinate writing, like newsletters, posts, and things, because it wasn't really my strong suit. When I got really comfortable and like playing with different things, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, that writing became so much easier, especially when I came from a place of flow and overflow and heart.
A key word that just like boom came right into my heart as you were speaking that you just said is playing. When I started to play, like when I started to play, and that like if we can just like bring that essence of that word in to our lives, then that perfectionism just falls by. It falls off, because when we're playing, exactly, how could you play perfectly, right? So that is divine wisdom that you just dropped. But it has me curious. It has me a little curious. Did you always feel this creative flow in your life, and especially in your business? Do you want to talk us through a little bit about like your past experience? So tell us about like those experiences that you had, and then the shift of like, okay, here I am, I'm tapping in my creative flow.
So, you know, this is interesting. I've actually never shared this story publicly before, and I wasn't planning on to. I was planning on doing it later, but here we go. So, this is what happened. I'm honored. No, I was not always in the creative flow. And for those of you who don't know me, I actually am trained. I had training in high school at a professional level. I have a degree in theatrical scenery design. And at the time, I didn't know it, but I can see it now looking back from all of the work that I've done. When you are so highly trained, a lot of it comes from here instead of coming from here. And when you come from here, for me personally, and I've heard this from many other people too, it can actually hinder our creative flow. So even though you're producing creative work, it's just not quite there. There's something not quite there. It's just not quite right? There's a little bit of emotion maybe missing from it, right? Even if you don't intend that to be. And when I had left my career and started doing something else, I got this big urge to go back to painting. And even though I was in a creative business, I actually didn't have my own creative practice. Like I wasn't doing my own paintings and things and stuff. I really didn't think about it, to be honest with you. And I didn't have guidance, right? So all of a sudden I had this big urge, this intuition, this nudge that would not go away, go back to painting, go back to painting, go back to painting. So I was finally like, okay, message received. I'm going to just do this for me for fun, right? So I signed up to take a beginning watercolor class because I hadn't watercolored in like 10 years. So I figured, oh, I'm going to be rusty. And I show up, it's like adult continuing ed. I show up, you know, it's at like a grade school. So the class is in like a, you know, a kid's art room. And I go in and I'm the first one there. Alexa knows I'm always very prompt. And I go there and I sit down at a table and other people start filtering and then nobody sits with me. The teacher comes in, we gather around her spot, she teaches the lesson, and all of a sudden, and by the way, guys, I'm not a rule breaker, so this is like a big thing for me. She teaches the lesson, we go to sit back at our spots, and all of a sudden, I had this big, you're not doing this. Put in your earphones and just paint to music. And the biggest gift I was ever given is that she let me march to the beat of my own drum. Every single class. Nice. Every single class. I came in, sat by myself. Everybody ignored me. I had my headphones in and I just painted and I let go and I started letting go and unraveling all of what I had been taught. And then one day, I knew we were doing like vegetables or like fruits or something. And I wasn't going to participate. And right before I left for class, there's an avocado sitting on my counter and I go, take that with you. So I go take it with me to class. I'm the only one who brings in an actual thing. Everybody's got photographs to work from. I have an actual avocado. So I cut it open. I'm by myself again. And because I hadn't drawn in so many years, like on my own, like realistically, I had no expectations of doing something amazing. And when I let that guard down, all of a sudden, I was able to combine like mind and heart and like everything started flowing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But even though I had that realistic avocado, it was more of the lesson of like letting go of the outcome and like what can happen when we let our mind just sit in the back seat and like just kind of go in the flow and do our thing. And this is part of why I guide the way I guide, and what we're going to be doing today. I want to encourage you to like march to the beat of your own drum. And I want to empower you to tap into that creative center that you already have. And that's already there in existence.
Jen, this story, this story, let go, let go, let go. Let go of expectation, let go of perfectionism, let go of what others are thinking of you. You could have thought, this class isn't meant for me to put my headphones in and retreat, which I needed to do on my own to discover my internal gifts. You could have been like, oh, this is not what it's meant. Okay, let's just kind of like comply, right? But you followed the urges, let go and followed your inner inkling that was guiding you this whole time. And it's so easy to not do that, especially in today's world where it's like over bombardment. Okay, this is what society's telling you. This is what schools told you. This is what your family wants. And so it's like, although you might feel that inner inkling, you're not necessarily in tune with it. So this is like a huge point in your life where it was like, boom, okay, inner inkling is felt, it's heard, it's moving me. And all the wisdom just came through to that. So God bless that.
Yes, and my
that
beautiful mentor and teacher that like allowed me to march to the beat of my own drum. And I'm sitting with you here today because she encouraged me to start actually showing my art and doing all these things, which was never, ever, ever one of my intentions.
So beautiful. So an element, obviously, of her teaching is within you. So can you kind of tell us when you're working with clients, like what does that mean and how do you mirror what was taught to you, what was shown to you in that way?
My goal when I'm working with people, whether it's one-on-one or group, is I want to give people the permission to march to the beat of their own drum. I give them the permission that if I give you a prompt and you're kind of like, not feeling that, you have permission to ignore me. You have permission to go and, you know, grab what supplies you want or listen to a different piece of music or, totally and completely ignore the lesson that I'm doing, because the whole point of it is, for me, when I'm working with clients, is you actually gain insights and wisdom from the creative process. And like, it's going to be different for each person. And when I work with people one-on-one, I specifically have them tell me ahead of time, like, what is your intention? Like, why do you want to come to me? Why do you want this? For some people, it's they're stuck and they really want to get into that creative flow. It's what a lot of people come for. Some people just want to relax. People come from all different reasons. Some people business. So if they can unblock in other places and have play and fun, it can start to unravel and unfold in the other places too.
Beautiful. What comes to my heart and my mind is, obviously you and I have worked together and known each other now for several years. And a few years ago, when I was in my corporate job, you created a piece that had all these beautiful lotus flowers.
I did. I forgot about that.
And you were the first person to show me that you infuse your artwork with mantra, with words in the background. And then you painted over that with the lotus flowers. And I remember my daughter had to have been, I don't even think 1 year old yet. Every time that she was in my office, that is the piece that she would gravitate towards. It just literally called her in. It called everybody in, because the essence, the energy, it was so multi-layered in that piece. So that was, and still rings true to me. And then we also did a co-collaborating piece in the last year. And I can attest to what you're saying, of it's really a co-creation, and asking, okay, what is it? What is the intention behind this project? What do you want it to say? It's like, how do you want it to feel? What do you want it to look? And it was super cool, because you would text and message me the colors. Like, remember, like, it was like, apple blossom, and it was like golden light. It was like all these things that like absolutely resonated with what it was that I wanted to create. So yes, so I totally see and have experienced what it is that you are, teaching and guiding.
Yeah, co-creation is the best. I mean, it probably comes to me more easily because of my background as a scenic designer. Like, was very common to me, right? Like, you work with a team of people to bring something to life. So it's not really a surprise that that's always been the path I've kind of done since starting this. Like, I don't know how many years ago now. It really, to me, is about the co-creation. Even if somebody's like, hey, can you paint this pet portrait? I'm always like, sure. Can you tell me like a little bit about the animal? Like, what's their personality? Like, I like a little bit more, or like, I want them to set an intention. Like, why do you want me to create this for you? I want it to bring joy into my home or my office, or like whatever the intention is. And I do use that while I'm creating for somebody, like a piece of art. And to me, that is a really important component, because it's not really about me. It really is about the co-creation.
So beautifully said. So I think without further ado, it's time for some co-creation. Okay. And I know that some people have joined us a little bit past it. So let's give everyone a few moments to grab paper, pen, what else, Jen?
Whatever you have available, crayons, a marker, a pencil, whatever you have is all good. And of course, you can repeat this activity on your own too, if you want to play with other stuff that you don't have at your fingertips this moment.
Okay. This is where my daughter's little craft bag comes in handy.
Yes, kids' art supplies are totally, absolutely perfect for this.
Let's see. Oh, wow, look at this. I have a marker that's not dead. We're living life on the wild side tonight. This is great. Okay. I know I have a few things ready to go.
Awesome.
I'm so excited.
And by the way, I do use crayons and things like that in my own studio, and like use this process on myself. I don't just exclusively see paint and things that you'll see from me on Instagram. What I actually show all of you are the things that I do myself, did myself, still do myself. And, you know, they continue to evolve too, which is very fun.
That is fun.
Yeah. All right. Would you like me to start? I think we're good.
Please.
Okay. So we're going to just do this for a few minutes. I am not going to play music because we're not sure if Instagram will kick us off. So if you want to listen to music, you totally can. Or you can just listen to my guidance, and then you could, again, always repeat this activity like on your own with music of your choice. So the first thing that I always have everybody do, so many people come to me and they're like, oh, but I can't do this because I'm not an artist. Not true. We are all creative beings. And the truth is, if I sat you at a piano and you've never played piano and I was like, play Mozart, you would laugh at me, right? You would think that's absolutely ridiculous. So we're going to use that same principle here. We're not creating something to hang in a museum or anything like that, right? This is purely about the process and the journey, just like if you were journaling. So let's just, any thoughts of that, like I'm not an artist, let's just shake those off. Let's just shake that out. We don't need that. The thought doesn't really serve us. So we're just gonna get rid of it for the next few moments. And I'm gonna just have you take a couple of nice deep breaths. And I'm just going to guide you through an exercise to allow some insights to unfold for you. So the first thing that I would love you to do, and if you go, oh, don't worry about that. See if you can just go, it's just for a few minutes. It's okay. I want you to take whatever you have, whether it's a crayon, pen, marker, and I want you to start drawing on the page with your eyes closed. Yes, I know, yes. I promise there's a method. I promise. Just go with it. Surrender like the river. And just breathe. And just notice if you feel any tension in your body or if your hand feels tight as you start to do this. If it feels a little tight because this is new to you, see if you can just breathe and see if you can just loosen the grip a little bit. It's okay if you feel like that. This might be new to some of you. I'm just going to let you do this for a moment, you know, a little less than a minute, and just draw with your eyes closed. See if you notice if you're trying to rush through, or if you're going very, very, very carefully because you have your eyes closed. There's no right or wrong way to do this. This is just about noticing. Just breathing as you go. And you can set an intention if you want to tap into your creativity, or if you just want to be in the present moment, whatever feels good to you. If some of you feel like writing a word or words, you can do that. And just accept that your handwriting might be a mess if your eyes are closed. And that's okay. And now I'm going to have you slowly start to open your eyes. See what you drew on the paper. It may surprise you, it may not, I don't know. And I want you to take a moment to keep going with your eyes opened before I move to the next little prompt. And again, just like before, you can just notice, like, is your hand like less tense now that your eyes are opened? Maybe they're more tense now that you can see what you're doing. I don't know. Again, there's no right or wrong. It's just notice what is going on for you. And now what I'm going to have you do, as in life and as in business, it is so important to shift our perspective. I'm going to have you rotate your page. You can rotate it 180 degrees, 90 degrees, 45 degrees, whatever feels good for you. Just take a look at what you doodled, what you created from a different perspective before you continue, and then continue to draw, doodle, create. And again, there's no right or wrong. Just like if you're journaling, we don't judge the process. Half the time I can't read my writing in my journaling. Children don't judge necessarily what they're drawing, right? When they're really little, they don't care what color they make the sky or the grass. If they draw a person, it's 100% not in proportion. They don't care. So see if you can also just tap a little bit into that like childlike wonder play, that awe, that imagination of, I'm going to make the sky this color because I can, or I'm going to make purple grass. And also just give yourself gratitude for being here and trying this if this is new to you, right? This exploration, this experience. That's big. If you're stepping out of your comfort zone, please give yourself some gratitude and grace. And I'm going to have you stop here. If you want to continue, of course you can continue on. But I'm going to have us stop here at this moment, and I'm going to just ask Alexa to share her experience. She did not know what we were doing today, by the way. She did not know what I was going to guide.
Oh, I am blissed out right now. That was really awesome. That was really awesome. I have never been through an experience like that. I would say that I lead people through journaling and writing and like creative flow through words. So to get my creative flow moving in a way through picture, and that this form of art is very fun for me. In a mirror, because a lot of the things that you just said is what I say when I'm leading the journaling workshop. So that's like just so synchronistic of life. Having your eyes closed reminds me of letting go of perfection at its finest. That there's no such thing as control whatsoever. And so I'll just kind of tell you kind of where I flow to, and I'm happy to share what came through me.
Yes, please do.
So I had a multitude of different, I had a colored pencil, I had one blue marker, and I had, some darker colored crayons, and I gravitated towards the blue marker. And to me, my creative flow, my urge was signifying immediately was like water. And then when you said to close your eyes, I'm all about like that cyclical cycle of like drawing these. Ever since I was a little kid, I would always draw these spirals all over my notebook. I don't know if the emoji, that I'm talking about, that's like blue and it's like the spiral, it comes up for me again and again. So the first thing I did was draw this this kind of cycle of life. And for me, it's really, it really speaks. And I actually started off this way. So then everything that came through to me was water. So these are waves. And then I was drawing droplets. And then when you had asked to put, write, you can write. And I felt like, okay, that's something that I'm super called to do. So when I thought of water and fluidity, transition came up, and fluid, and being free flowing and flexible. And as I have birthed my business into the world, and I am about to birth another soul, another being in a few weeks into the world. I'm not even kidding you, Jen. As I was talking about like fluidity and movement, my baby is like moving and kicking and all this stuff. So to me, it's like let go and flow. And I definitely have my own share of experiences finding that to be difficult. So thank you for that. And then when you asked to switch the page over, initially what my intuition put, and I wrote it down, is it's all the same. It's all a reflection of one another, whichever view I'm looking at it through. So thank you so much. And I just want, yeah, that was so super awesome. And we have some comments coming in through the chat. So
yeah,
light your own path. I used pencil and drew many things. The only thing that ended up looking like something was a tulip.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's beautiful. I love that you wound up having a tulip. And it's not really necessarily about whether you do or don't draw something, right? Because you said you have one thing that looked like a tulip and other things that were many things, right? Sometimes it's really just about the process. And if you're ever really questioning, just like look at abstract art. There's stuff that's just lines, right? It's not necessarily something, right? Some of it is just there to make us feel something. So it sounds like you're not judging that, but if anybody is judging what you created, see if you can let that go, because it's not really about like making something to necessarily hang on the wall. Though if you had really great insights and you want to do that or have it in a drawer to remind you, of course, please by all means, like keep that as a reflection and a reminder for you. Oh cool, somebody had squiggles with heart go up and her pencil move, and I saw somebody else comment too, but now I can't see it. Oh, I felt much more open to create more fun. Yay! Yes, I do believe that creativity should be fun. A lot of us, like, when you're taught like so heavily, the fun kind of gets removed from it, the play kind of gets removed from it, and my whole thing is to bring that back into creativity for us.
The other thing that comes to my mind and heart to share is actually, so I think the eyes closed part is very freeing. The eyes closed part is very freeing because you can't see and you can't lay out and you can't, create this like plan.
Yeah.
And when you asked us to open our eyes, I'm going to be super honest. So like all this is about water and flowing and all this. Something inside of me was like, draw a cloud, because some days have been super challenging and cloudy and lack of clarity and confusion. When I was like, no, I don't want to draw a cloud. Like, I don't know. Like, I want the vibes to be like flowing and free. And then I was like, screw it. I'm putting the clouds in, because the clouds are a part of what creates the water, which turns into the sun. And like, that's all part of the process. And so I felt myself say, like, I don't know, like, do I want to like add clouds into my drawing, to my expression? Yeah, I do, because darkness and clouds and all that is all part of our existence. So yeah.
Beautiful. I'm thrilled with the insights, and if anybody wants to, of course, post their work and tag me, of course I would love to see it, but of course you don't have to.
Somebody said I drew a cloud too. See, look, we're together, sisters, in this. And Sam, yes, it felt more alive too and spacious. I feel like I liked what I created more as opposed to when I tried to control. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All the snaps of that. So that is so awesome. So how would you recommend that we take this process a little bit further, whether it be partnering with you or on our own or a combination of both?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, of course, if anybody wants to work with me, you can work with me. I work with people both one-on-one, and I have a Creative Explorers membership. So you can find all that information in my bio. You can throw me a DM if you want to ask me any questions. And on your own, I do have a Facebook group too, if for free. If anybody wants to like share their stuff, you can share in there too. But when you're on your own too, like as you can see, like we kind of got a lot done in 5 minutes. So, or 5 or 6 minutes, whatever it was. And you can do this every day if you choose to. You could do it a few times a week. My goal is always to tell people, like, do what works and feels good to you, because when it becomes a chore, then you're not going to do it. So, but as you saw, all you need is like a little art journal. You could use crayons, pencils. If you want to get fancier and get into paints and things and stuff and take up more time, of course you can. You do not have to buy expensive art supplies. You can just use, like, you know, if you have kids, you can use their stuff. There's no need to go spending hundreds of dollars on art supplies. Just get whatever works for you and is convenient. And, you know, you can do something where it's guided. You can throw on your favorite piece of music and let the music guide you. You can do, you know, if any of you do gratitude at the end of the day and you want to write your gratitude and then like doodle around it, there's many different ways that you can do this. And my biggest key to tell people is always like, make it work for you. Do what feels good for you, so you actually do the thing. And it's also very convenient too, I find, for people, like, you know, a little art journal doesn't take up much space, and a pencil or crayon doesn't take up much space. So if it means you leave it on your nightstand or leave it on the kitchen table or like leave it on your desk, so you're like, oh, let me just take 5 minutes and do that. Like, put it someplace where you're gonna go, oh, yes, 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 yes. Let me do that. Let me take a few minutes to relax and decompress and just doodle and draw and have some fun.
A wise, also another wisdom that came through to what you just said was, if it feels like a chore, let go and loosen a little bit more. Let go and loosen a little bit more and do what feels good to you and through the lens of fun, because yeah, you want to be mindful of like, okay, I have to do my artwork today, and then it turns into the opposite of what the intention is. So that's so, yeah, poignant to just say, okay, well, when it feels right, do it.
Yes.
You got a beautiful shout out about your journals and your many guided experiences.
Thank you.
Yes. Super, super, super awesome and special, for sure.
Yeah.
As we kind of transition a little bit, we're going to continue our conversation just a little bit. And let's say that a fellow artist, in whatever way that they define art to them, is listening to this. What would you give as a piece of advice about how to begin, how to do this as a career? Like, what comes up for you to share?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This has been like quite a journey for me, because I'm not doing what I originally set out to do, right? I kind of did that. I was in the entertainment business for many years and then chose to leave, did something else, and then had like this big art calling. I think it's a matter of finding what feels really good for you. So I love guiding, so that's part of my business. And I love creating artwork and commissions, so that's also part of my business. And I love creating products, so I'm a journal and card deck creator. So all of those are part of my business. I think it's finding what works best for you and what feels good for you. And then the most important part is getting the right support around what you want to do. So if you need to fill in the gap because you're missing something, as in like you don't know how to market, or you're not really sure how to set up a business, or you're not really sure how to do X, Y, and Z, finding the proper support. But also finding the proper support to do the internal work that you need to do, the inner work, because being an entrepreneur, being an artpreneur is a roller coaster ride. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, it is a roller coaster ride, and the support that I have had is what has gotten me through. And, you know, you try some things and some things work out. Some things, okay, that didn't quite work. Let me pivot. You have to kind of be willing to try the experiment, just like art. Just like when you experiment with new art supplies, you have to be willing to experiment in your offerings and your business and stuff too, right? Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, keep going, get that support that you need, and like, don't be afraid to try something again if something doesn't work out the first time. I mean, I'm sure Alexa could tell you, I follow many business people and entrepreneurs on social media and stuff, and some people are like, oh my gosh, I launched something and my first launch was crickets, and then I did it again. And, you know, so get the support so when some of that stuff happens, you can move through it and like continue on and pivot and brainstorm as needed to try to figure out, like, okay, what's my next step? How am I going to move forward?
So what I just heard you say is, before you spoke about every offering that you have, you said, I love. So you fell in love. You are in love with what your offerings are. Those are extensions of you.
Yes. So
that's like, ooh, okay, fall in love with your business, fall in love with those extensions of you, and support, community support, people that are experienced and have wisdom in other areas that you do. And we share back and forth and we support each other in those ways. And that is, you know, what the intention of what we're doing here tonight is to shine light and support people that are going through the journey in new and innovative ways. So thank you for also not only receiving support, but giving support.
I'm happy to help give support, and I'm very grateful for all the support that I've had and continue to have.
Mm-hmm. Me too. So what are three words that define the values, the foundation of your business, of who you are?
That's such a great question. I would say creativity, but that seems very obvious, so I'm going to go with three other ones.
Creativity is woven throughout.
It's pretty much there.
It's sprinkled everywhere.
It's sprinkled everywhere. It is joy. It's fun and play.
Nice. Joy and fun and play. Everything that you spoke of and taught us this evening is all through that lens. So it's definitely clear. And another vision that just came to my mind is, I saw you recently, I don't know if it's like a little series that you're doing, but the bubbles, the watercolor bubbles and all of this, so that is super joyful and freeing and movement and all the things. So
yes, well, that is, I'm not going to tell you what it's for yet, because it's a secret for a little longer. So you all have to wait. I'm so sorry. You got another maybe month before I release what that is about. But it is going to be very fun. It has to do with joy, and it's definitely a product.
Ooh. So stay tuned. There's an announcement and something dropping soon, everybody. And Sam said felt all of those things in that activity. So yes, it resonates through for sure.
Yes. And by the way, for those of you who have children, I don't have children, but if you have children, I have had kids like join the adults sometimes when I do group stuff. If you have kids, you can do this with them. Like, sit down for, like, I don't know what their attention span is, but whatever it might be, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or you can get them to sit down for 30 minutes, put on their favorite music and join them in a coloring session. I guarantee you they're going to help teach you stuff, because they're going to probably be very free about how they go about things. So you can really learn a lot from them too. And it's a beautiful thing that you can experience with them, right? You can get your relaxation and get into the creative flow while playing with your children at the same time.
Beautiful. And that kind of connects back to something you said at the beginning of the episode, which was be childlike. Look through the lens of wonder and curiosity, and in this state of being a child where it's not, this has to look this way, this has to be this way. This is their way. They create, and they'll tell you what it is. They'll tell you exactly what it is. And it may not be, and certainly probably won't be what your logical mind is saying, oh, this is such. So that is super true. Super, super true. Abundance. I've asked every guest on Leaders Live, what does abundance mean to them? So Jen, what does it mean for you?
Abundance for me is all of the things. And specifically, I'm always calling in an abundance of joy, an abundance of creativity, an abundance of play, an abundance of being present. And I think one of the best things that I have done in recent years is really getting to enjoy those little moments. And like when I can have an abundance of those little moments, and that's like, the other day there was frost on the grass, and when I took the dog out, it was just twinkling and sparkling, and I knew it was going to go away in like 10 minutes, right? So I got to just stop, pause, and savor that moment. When I have animals that come into my yard, earlier today, I went to go out and I had 4 deer that were in my front yard, and I stopped and I paused and I looked at them, and they didn't run right away. And I just took in that moment. So to me, that's all part of abundance, right? Those little moments of joy and being able to be in the present moment. And obviously, I always call in an abundance of creativity and art supplies.
Always free-flowing art supplies, Jen. Well said. Well said. Is appreciating, what I hear you say is appreciating the subtleties and seeing that those are in fact the big things.
Yes.
You know, those are in fact the big things, are the subtleties. So slowing down, recognizing and appreciating in that state of abundance, or is that state of abundance. Yes. So if you had any superpower in your imagination to tap into, what would it be and why? How would you use it?
Oh, that's such a good question. All right. I wish my superpower was always just knowing the how, even though that's not realistic. Because
I wish that too.
Right? That would be a good superpower,
That would
right?
be
Like,
great.
this is just all of the stepping stones I have to follow, and it's presented.
Here's
and I would
the path.
and I would use that for myself and for my clients. But I think that would be one of my superpowers. But I think it would also be if I could just wave a magic wand and like have a superpower, it'd be every time I just interact with somebody, they get empowered to tap into their creativity and their own magic. That would be fun, right?
Well, I must say, I think that you tapped into that superpower tonight. I think that those that were here to do the interactive experience and those that have joined us now can always play this back and go along for that ride. I mean, you certainly opened that door for me. So yeah, evoking creativity and joy and playfulness and letting go of expectation or how I think that things should be. Yeah. Well, Jen, I have to say this has been so much fun and a pleasure to have you on. I'm so grateful that you took us through how to tap into our creative flow and like what does that really mean, right? Because I'm sure like when the episode came out, it's like there's some people like, what is a creative flow? Well, really, as Jen had said, a creative flow is being in a state of play, being in a state of fun, letting go of any expectation and what our logical thinking minds are, and following our heart. And that is what it means to be in the creative flow, and how we can bring in that element into multiple parts of our lives. So this was episode 105 of Leaders Live with Jen Faye Colombo. And if you're looking to tap further into art and experience through the creative lens, visit Jen's Instagram, and you can go to her link tree and get hooked up with a bunch of opportunities from there. And if you're interested in hearing from other entrepreneurs, other people out there, leaders in the world doing their thing, then the Abundant Business Collective is the place for you. And that is a virtual, unique membership community that I have created. So either one or both or all of those places we know will serve you and us. So please ask us if you have any questions about that. Jen, have a beautiful, beautiful night. To everybody else that has joined us, have a beautiful night. And to anyone that is viewing this in the future, as this episode will be up on YouTube for forevermore, we hope this finds you well and happy.
Thanks.
Talk to you all soon. Bye, Jen.
Bye.
Bye-bye.